Before you buy the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, you need to hear this, because this might be the most capable Wrangler ever made, or the most overrated one. If you're thinking about spending your money on this, stay with me because I'm breaking down exactly what matters. No fluff, no brand hype, just what you need to know before you buy. Now, the Wrangler Rubicon has always been about one thing: serious off-road capability. And for 2026, Jeep didn't completely reinvent it, but they definitely refined it in ways that actually matter. At first glance, it still looks like a Wrangler. Boxy, aggressive, instantly recognizable. But look closer, and you'll notice subtle updates: reworked grille styling, new lighting elements, and improved aerodynamics. Nothing dramatic, but enough to keep it feeling modern without losing that classic Jeep identity. Under the hood, this is where things start to get interesting. Jeep continues to offer multiple engine options, and depending on what you choose, your experience can be very different. The standard setup still gives you solid power for both daily driving and off-road use. But if you want real torque and better efficiency, the hybrid option changes the game completely. And yes, the Rubicon is still built for serious trails. We're talking locking differentials, disconnecting sway bar, heavy-duty axles, and high ground clearance straight from the factory. This isn't just marketing. This is real hardware designed to handle rocks, mud, sand, whatever you throw at it. But here's the part most people don't talk about. Owning a Rubicon isn't just about what it can do off-road. It's about what you're willing to deal with every single day. Because while it's incredibly capable, it's not the smoothest or quietest SUV on the road. On highways, you'll notice wind noise. The ride can feel stiff compared to typical SUVs. And if you're expecting luxury-level comfort right out of the box, you might be disappointed. That said, Jeep has improved the interior for 2026. The infotainment system is faster, the screen is bigger, and overall usability is much better than older models. You finally get a setup that feels modern enough for daily use in the US market. So right now you're probably asking, does this actually make it worth buying? Hold that thought, because in the next part we're going deeper into performance, real-world driving, and what it actually feels like to live with the 2026 Wrangler Rubicon every day. Alright, so let's talk about what really matters once you're behind the wheel. How the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon actually drives in the real world. First, on regular city roads, it's decent. Not amazing, not terrible, just decent. The steering still feels a bit loose compared to most modern SUVs, and you'll notice that right away, especially if you're coming from something like a crossover. It doesn't feel planted in the same way, and at higher speeds you'll be making small corrections more often than you'd expect. Now on the highway, this is where opinions start to split. The Rubicon can absolutely handle long drives, but it's not what I'd call effortless. Wind noise is still there, especially with the removable roof panels, and the boxy shape doesn't do it any favors. You'll hear it. You'll feel it. And if you're used to quiet cabins, this might take some getting used to. Ride quality is another thing you need to understand before buying. The suspension is tuned for off-road performance, not comfort. So over bumps, potholes, and uneven roads, it can feel firm, sometimes even a bit bouncy. It's not harsh, but it's definitely not smooth like a typical family SUV. But all of that changes the moment you take it off-road. This is where the Rubicon completely justifies its name. The grip, the control, the confidence, it's on another level. With locking differentials and that disconnecting sway bar, you can crawl over obstacles that would stop most vehicles instantly. And the best part is, you don't need to be an expert. The vehicle does a lot of the work for you. The available drive modes and off-road systems make it incredibly capable straight from the factory. Whether it's rocks, mud, or sand, the Rubicon feels like it was built specifically for that environment, because it was. Now let's talk fuel economy, because this is something a lot of buyers overlook. If you go with the traditional gas engine, don't expect great numbers. It's a heavy, boxy SUV, and efficiency isn't its strong point. But if you choose the hybrid option, you'll see a noticeable improvement, not just in fuel savings, but also in low-end torque, which actually helps off-road. Still, this isn't a vehicle you buy to save money on gas. You buy it for capability and character. And that brings us to a key question. Are you buying this for what it can do occasionally, or what you need every single day? Because in the final part, we're getting into pricing, ownership costs, and whether the 2026 Wrangler Rubicon is actually worth your money in the US market. Now let's get into the part that really decides everything: price, ownership costs, and whether the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is actually worth your money in the US. Starting price for the Rubicon sits on the higher side compared to most midsize SUVs. And that's before you start adding options. Because once you add things like the bigger infotainment screen, premium audio, advanced safety features, and off-road packages, the price climbs fast. It's very easy to push this into a range where you could be looking at more comfortable, more refined SUVs with better daily driving manners. So the question becomes, what are you really paying for? And the answer is simple. You're paying for capability, heritage, and a very specific kind of lifestyle. Now let's talk about ownership. Maintenance on the Wrangler isn't outrageous, but it's not the cheapest either. Tires wear faster if you actually use it off-road. Fuel costs add up, especially with the gas engine, and insurance can be slightly higher depending on where you live. But there's also a flip side that a lot of SUVs don't offer. The Wrangler holds its value extremely well in the US market. Resale value is one of its biggest strengths, so even though you pay more upfront, you're not losing as much over time compared to many other vehicles. And then there's customization. This is one of the biggest reasons people buy a Wrangler. You can modify almost everything: wheels, tires, suspension, roof, bumpers. It's not just a car, it becomes a project, something you can build over time. But here's the honest truth you need to hear before buying. If you're looking for a smooth, quiet, comfortable daily SUV, this is probably not the right choice. There are better options out there for that. But if you want something that feels different, something that can go anywhere, something that actually gives you that sense of adventure every time you drive it, the Rubicon delivers in a way very few vehicles can. So is the 2026 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon worth it? Yes, if you understand what it's built for and you're okay with the trade-offs. No, if you expect it to behave like a typical modern SUV, at the end of the day, this isn't just a vehicle. It's a purpose-built machine. And before you buy, make sure that purpose matches yours.